We took a hiatus because I was in a car accident. I had to take time to deal with my health. It also affected my ability to sing and play. Being away from it for a long time, we realized not to take anything for granted and how much we really loved playing music.
There were moments during the hiatus where we weren't sure if the band would continue as Little Galaxies. We were sure we would play music, of course, but Gina showed a lot of resilience, getting through physical therapy and whatever it was, just get back to where she should be as far as performing. And then, honestly, Andres and Christian, they were huge to just bringing this band back.
I found them on Craigslist, and when I joined, I had only been maybe 2 or 3 months coming out of my own personal hiatus, because I had a lot of family issues going on. I hadn't played drums for almost 4 years, like here and there, just for fun in my garage, but I wasn't playing in any bands. I completely cut it off. I sold my drums. I hung it up. I said, that's it. I guess I'm not going to do this ever again because I didn't have it in me. But then I started feeling like, I'll get out there and play again. And I met them, and they just were in the same headspace, starting over again, not from nothing, but really, starting from scratch and trying to build something new. Of course, when Andreas came in, that was the thing we needed to kind of kick it into the next level.
Andreas has been helping mix this record. He's an engineer over at 4th Street Recording, where we did our first album and where we're doing our second one too.
He tunes my drums better than me, which is awesome.
I don't know about that.
Being an artist, you tend to be very passionate people, and we do butt heads sometimes, but over the years we've really learned how to work well and efficiently together and use that for the best. And I think defining roles is definitely helpful. We're always encouraging each other, and we're each other's best fans, so that's definitely a positive as well. Usually Amir or I will bring in a song idea, or we'll improv in the room, and then I'll put lyrics, the vocal melody, any guitar parts, and then we'll bring it to the band. And
they take it to another level, and we're looking forward to having more opportunities to write all 4 of us in the room together going forward.
And we're also recording one song at a time for the most part. We started with bass and drums, and instead of doing all the vocals at once and all the guitars at once, we're trying to finish each song at a time and give it some more love and attention. Occasionally we'll play with a band that's a bit standoffish, but for the most part, since we've come back to performing live again, I feel like there's actually a great camaraderie between bands, and bands are realizing that it works in everyone's benefits to support and help each other. We've definitely been seeing that a lot with the West Side Revival guys, who've been putting on some awesome shows out here on the West Side and trying to revive the music scene. And there's also just a lot of bands that we love, and we love discovering new music, so it's fun for us to go out to shows and our friends.
When I first arrived here, we'd play a show, and there'd be like 30 people, and the guys in the band would be like, "Oh, tonight was a pretty good turnout." I'm like, "Are you fucking joking?" I mean, smaller towns, more people come to shows.
Right.
When I used to play back home where I'm from, which is a town of 500,000, there'd be 200 people at like indie shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's a product of the oversaturation. Ever since MySpace days, people have just been inundated because everyone has a friend that has bands. So it's just come see my band, come see my band, come see my band, and then people are just sick of it, so it might just become aversive, so they don't go to as many shows. Or as we get older, people, have lives and kids, and it's harder for people to come out to shows.
We're also in a city where a lot of people move here for their careers, and that's their focus, and they're very busy, and they spend all days working, and it's hard to get out to a show, especially if you have to deal with an hour traffic, finding parking, paying to get in the venue. And that's why we always really appreciate it when any of our friends come out to a show, because we know how difficult it could be to make it out. The MTV music video era that we kind of grew up with are over.
The decline of that video era has actually been a good thing in a way for a lot of artists to be able to break through and break the mold, just really highlight the music and highlight the individual.
And also with social media, people can market themselves now. They're not dependent on who the labels are choosing. So we're seeing more different types of artists out there now.
Yeah, so the people are really able to decide as opposed to the suits.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to get support on social media, but in our experience, it's best to have someone who follows you on social media to have initially met you, at a show or something like that, to where there's actually a true connection, to where they're more likely to engage with a more genuine engagement on social media.
Yeah, and it always works if you're genuine about it, you know. That's the thing. People, they can tell if you're faking it, and so
Yeah.
social media is great for that because they can see through it if you're not being genuine. But it can be a real big help, you know. And people want to see you and they want to engage because you're a genuine person.
Sometimes, you know, we want to separate the band life from our own life, but we find that it's not really possible always, and we just kind of let go of that feeling and just kind of accept that, because it doesn't always feel like, you know, work necessarily if we're talking about the band, because we love it so much.
You know, you take like LeBron, he's got a basketball life and a home life. If you're turning off that, there's something about it that doesn't really become totally second nature. Whereas if you're living your whole life and it includes music and time for friends and whatever, it meshes better and you're incorporating it in different ways. So you're still making music, enjoying music, even if you're not sitting in a studio.
Right, you're not switching on and switching off.
You're not switching on and off.
Right.
If you're not in a place where your life is always music, there's going to be a time you're not going to be able to turn it on. And with a more even life like that, you don't have to turn it on, it's there. Like I said, you know, there's nothing to worry about.